Hello and welcome to Spooning with me, Mark Wogan. You join me here at Corrigan's Mayfair, yes. And I will be joined, as ever, by a very special guest, and we will be challenging the food that they say they love and the food that they say they hate. But who is my special guest today? Well, he's a Gleek. William McKinley High. Any clues there? Yes, it's Kevin McHale. Welcome.
Thank you very much for having me.
Now, Kevin, you are here to talk about all things other than Glee.
I'll talk about whatever you want.
Okay, but I mean, you're here because you're going to appear on London's West End.
I'm going to be doing some theatre while I'm here.
Yes.
Apparently, that's what they tell me.
About frogs.
Yes.
Yeah.
My favorite thing, frogs.
Yeah. What, have you ever eaten frog's legs?
I haven't.
Delicious. They're like
Really?
just like little sort of slightly pondy tasting chicken.
I've always avoided them.
Really?
I've seen them on menus, and I'm down to try anything at least
Snails?
twice.
You've done snails?
Yes. I've
Yeah?
done snails, and I keep going back for more.
Oh, I love snails.
Yeah, delicious.
One of my favourite places to have snails in the whole wide world is there's a restaurant in Paris called L'Ami Louis.
Mm-hmm.
And it's literally a hole in the wall. And it's dark and it's dingy. And they only have about 3 things on the menu. That you can either have a whole saddle of lamb, or a whole chicken, or a whole sort of rib of beef. And before it, you have slabs of foie gras, or not a dozen, 24 snails.
As you do.
It's for the overeater.
Yeah, I could do that.
Which I have
That's
been.
me.
I've been in my past.
No,
I've
I should
been-
have asked you. I was in Paris last weekend, and I should have asked you for recommendations.
Oh, you see.
Yeah.
See, if only we'd met before then.
Yeah.
But, you know, look, let's go right back to the beginning.
Okay.
Okay. So it started in, which, you know, I always find terrifying, 1988,
Oh, God.
you know.
Oh, God, you're really going back.
Yeah, we're going right
Did I-
back to your birth.
Oh, yeah.
Now-
I wish I was born in 1998.
But you're a Texan.
Yeah. You know, we can't choose where we're born, can we?
But do you not like being a Texan? It's all of a sudden being a Texan's cool, isn't it? You've got Austin and all these places now.
It
Everybody
ends
talks
after
about
Austin, you know? You've got Austin, and that's the sentence.
Oh, really? Is that it?
Yeah, but
But-
I didn't grow up in Austin.
Well, no, we've all watched Yellowstone as well, and they seem to like going to Texas in there. They go to that, what is that, 666 Ranch? They like that. Seemingly the guy who wrote that has now bought that ranch. Did you
Has-
know that?
no.
Yeah, he now owns
He
that.
can now buy half the world.
He can do anything he likes.
Yeah.
But you started out life in Texas.
Yeah.
Were you immediately sort of blinded by your own jazz hands? Was it kind of, you know, was there just a performer from the word go, or were you a shy, retiring child?
It was a bit of both.
Yeah.
In public, deathly shy.
Really?
Like, sort of hide behind my parents.
Okay.
Shy.
Okay.
And then at home, maybe because I was the youngest of 4 or something, I was attracted to performing, putting on shows in the house, getting up on the countertops.
Yeah.
Singing.
I used to do magic shows as a child.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Magic
Terrible
shows.
magic. I mean, rubbish magic.
Oh, yeah. Same thing. Puppet shows. I used to film myself doing the news.
Mhm.
Like, that's what I really...
You want to be a
Love to
newscaster.
do.
You sort
Yeah.
of saw yourself as a Ron Burgundy.
Yeah. And, you know, I haven't strayed that far. You tell me what to say and point me in the right direction, and I'll do it.
Oh, put a question mark on the teleprompter.
And that would...
I'm Ron Burgundy.
Yeah, fully. The one time I hosted a panel show here, and they would write things into the teleprompter, and I was like, this is dangerous.
No.
Because I can't make any of my own decisions.
Oh, really?
I will just read whatever you put.
But I mean, surely you've made some decisions in life that have panned out quite well. But you know, your sort of first foray as a performer professionally was in the boy band NLT,
Yes.
which stood for Not Like Them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
In what way were you not like them?
I couldn't tell you. I think we were not like them because we were in that era where there shouldn't have been boy bands. You know, we were in between NSYNC and Backstreet Boys and One Direction. And so everybody else knew this wasn't a good time to have boy bands.
Yeah.
NLT was not successful.
Really?
Yeah,
No.
it wasn't.
But I mean, there was a lot of dancing.
Yeah.
You know, that was that where you sort of found your dancing chops?
I started dancing before that. But it was sort of it was marrying all the things I was interested in.
Because you were, I mean, maybe at a slight advantage or a slight disadvantage, because your sister was actually a casting agent, wasn't she?
She was like an actor's agent.
Yeah.
And she wasn't my agent,
No.
and she happened
Did
to
she refuse to be your agent?
maybe. She's the one who encouraged me to, get into acting and all that if I wanted to, because I sort of forced myself into an audition once, and she handled adults, and I was
A child.
a child, so I
But-
was not her.
But I mean, you were in a boy band, but I mean, you can actually really sing. I mean, you can. And
Sometimes.
well, no, I mean, let's not beat around the bush. You've got a great singing voice.
Thank you.
And you had the same singing coach as Ashley Simpson and Demi Lovato. Is that correct?
In Texas, yes. In Texas,
Is there only one singing coach in Texas?
I know we all went to the same. I don't know what it was. Yeah,
Luckily, you all sound quite different.
we do. And I mean, Demi's voice is the most insane thing on the planet. And I knew Demi since she was like 8 or 9 years old, and she could always sing like that. So she was sort of like a freak of nature. Like,
Well,
oh, you're the best.
Well, it's
I've
like
ever
that
heard.
slightly, I find it slightly disturbing early footage of, say, Britney Spears singing, which is sort of slightly precocious over singing.
Yeah.
Was there a bit of that going on or not?
I don't know. She just had the ability of a grown adult at that young age, and so she could sort of turn it on and off because she was, I think, on Barney at the time, like the children's TV show. And so
For those who don't know, that's a big purple dinosaur.
yes,
Yeah.
and I remember her doing like singing as a 9-year-old, putting on this little kid's voice, or singing as like an adult.
I
It
mean,
was unreal.
but do you not find that slightly strange? It's in that kind of realm of tantrums and tiaras when you've got a tiny person who is singing like a grown up. It's like, whoa, that was slightly strange.
I think I didn't know any
Could
better.
you do that?
No, no. I was happy to have whatever was coming out.
I mean, I think I read Michael Bublé was like that. He shocked his parents by suddenly sounding like Sinatra
That
in the
makes
back of the
sense.
car one
Yeah.
day. And they're like, what?
That tracks for me. I can see that. I wish I had that skill. But those two are like some incredible vocalists, and I think when you meet really incredible vocalists, they've usually always had this different thing that that they were just sort of born with. Yeah.
It, I think we describe it
Yeah.
as. Or somebody well known built a whole show around it. I think, what is it called? The X Factor? The
Never
X Factor?
never
Are you
heard of that.
familiar with that?
No.
No?
What is that?
Okay. I don't know. But everything changed 2009 because 2009 you were cast in Glee.
Yes.
I mean,
That little show.
that little show that had minimal impact on the world,
Yeah.
on the music charts, that kind of thing. I mean, did you have any idea when you joined that it would be what it was?
No. Quite
Or
the
still
opposite.
is, to be honest.
Quite the opposite. I think the odds were against us, and the odds were against that format of a TV show. Having a musical TV show, historically was not a good idea. And I don't, I was just happy to be cast in something. So I wasn't necessarily thinking about if this was going to be successful. I got cast in the pilot, and at that point,
As Artie.
yeah. And we were all so broke going into doing that pilot. I had to borrow money from my brother to pay my rent that month, and I was not the only one in the cast. And so at that point, I was like, I'm happy to have a job for a month. And and we all were obsessed with it. We had the best time with each other. The crew loved it. And we all came from those backgrounds where we sang and danced and acted, which again was not something that you could necessarily always do in one job.
But as an actor, as a singer, and as a dancer, when you were presented with the role of Artie, who had a spinal cord injury and was therefore in a wheelchair, did you sort of go, oh, this is a lot to take on? Or did it just feel like something that you could really jump at?
It felt like at that point, I think that was maybe the second or third audition I had been on for a character in a wheelchair.
Really?
That was sort of standard. Like you get what the description is, like, okay, let me figure this out. And that was sort of it.
You'd been on 3 separate auditions for a character in a
Yeah.
wheelchair. Now, given that we are now in 2025, do you think it would be possible for you as a fully able individual to be cast in that role again? Or
No.
do you think it would, by rights, or it would only be right for it to go to a disabled actor.
I think it would be right for those roles to go to people who are actually in chairs. I think.
Did you ever experience any negativity about acting from a chair and that kind of not being the reality of who you were?
There was like a week of, I would say, pushback or some negative criticisms, but from my experience with my interaction with that community and parents of children in wheelchairs, was quite the opposite. It was overwhelmingly positive. I think now with the hindsight of where we are, I always like to say like Glee was this like bridge between the old ways and the new ways, and knowing that if people in chairs want to become actors, and knowing that there are opportunities for them, then you should absolutely be hiring those people. I think back then it was a different situation.
I mean, yes, it was a different situation, but has the situation changed? Where is it not surely down to the choice of the production team or the director to choose the best person for the role? In other words, the best actor.
Yeah.
I mean, I only say it, a friend of mine who's a very experienced producer was casting a show for one of the big streaming services and got sort of hauled into sort of head office in the States. He's based here, got hauled into head office in the States for not casting any gay actors for a gay role in the part. And it was like, his argument was like, no, I'm casting the best person.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, they have to be gay. And his argument was, does that mean that a gay man can't play a straight man?
Right. Yeah, but I played straight for 6 seasons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I think those things are a little different. I would say my argument for gay actors and straight actors is different than somebody who's in a wheelchair. I also think in the past, there haven't been, like, when people would have auditions, there weren't necessarily that many people who were going into those auditions that were in wheelchairs.
Yeah.
Because they weren't given the opportunity.
Well, I mean, and also it takes a lot of bravery. If you have any kind of disability.
Yeah, absolutely.
It takes a lot of bravery. You don't, we as, people who don't suffer in any way or don't have any disability of any sort, cannot fully understand what people go through. I mean, we had a guest recently, Tasha Guri, who's deaf, and she's a dancer by trade, and what she went through to achieve that is extraordinary.
Yeah, which I think
extraordinarily brave and tenacious and that sort of thing. But do you feel that role, because it was such a seminal role and such a seminal series in terms of what it created, do you think you were responsible for changing perceptions of people in chairs and what they were capable of doing?
I don't think I personally was responsible for that. I think...
Is that your humility at play? Because it was a massive thing. I mean, most people didn't know you weren't disabled for a long time.
Yeah, people would shout at me in the airport and things.
Why are you walking?
Yeah. But no, I think that was a conscious decision of Ryan Murphy and what he and Brad and Ian, who created and wrote the first 2 seasons by themselves. I think that was their deliberate choice. Was each of us were sort of representing an underserved community in that way, and to have us be seen as normal human beings and not just be. It wasn't just about me being in a wheelchair.
Yeah.
Artie had his many flaws in other ways and many skills and talents in other ways. And so I think, for me, what I've heard over these years of just having that representation, regardless of who was playing that character, was the important part. And seeing someone in a wheelchair in high school being part of a great close group of friends, being celebrated amongst them was, the important thing that was showcased.
But you as a gay man didn't come out until 2018, is that correct?
Something like that.
Yeah. What was that, because the role was straight and you were advised not to, or you just didn't feel comfortable with it, or what was that about? If you're comfortable answering.
Oh yeah. No. Nothing's off the table.
Okay.
I overshare.
Okay, good.
If anything, you can
That's
tell
what
me to be like, we don't need to know that.
Whoa, it's a share, not scare.
Yeah. It's a fine line. I think growing up in the era that I did, especially growing up in the music business, I think I had long sort of accepted that that was something that I could never say publicly. And so I think in my head, jumped whatever hoops that I had to convince myself that was fine, to make myself believe that that was fine. And so it was never necessarily an overt, like negative thing on me, if that makes sense. Where I was just like, oh, okay, I'll just do this in secret and have this, and that's fun. I'll have this like hidden life, and thought that was fun. And it was actually one of the producers of Glee, and I remember he was a gay man, and I remember talking to him at some point, and he was like, I don't think that's right. He's like, I think you've now sort of like fetishized your gay life into being this like hidden thing when it doesn't need to be that. Like you shouldn't feel like that has to be, an aspect of you that you can't live fully.
I mean, it was just interesting because, like you say, the music industry and the pressures that put on particularly males to be one kind of sexuality.
Yeah.
Recently released here, and I don't know if you've seen it, I think it was one of the best music documentaries of recent times, was the Boyzone documentary.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, it's fantastic. And it goes into great depth about, the pain and suffering of Stephen Gately, who obviously then passed. But I think it is extraordinary because you look back, I look at that date, 2003, and I think that's not that long ago.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
I'm an old man now.
No, but it's not.
And you think, God, in 2003, you were not you felt you weren't entitled to be gay.
Yeah. I mean, and the thing was, I think being on Glee, not that long after that, was very, very, it was like the right set of circumstances, like the perfect recipe for me to be around people who came from the theater community, which is very accepting of gay people, all kinds of people. Yeah. And I very quickly, was out to all of them and was sort of like living my life in that way and being accepted and having, my whole friend group fully know me in that way. And when I do think back about sort of like the divide of how I was being with those people who I was with 16 hours a day, and then sort of like my friends in the life pre-Glee and how different those were. I was also, growing up and maturing and having new experiences as you do in, like college years. And so I think all of that, they sort of made that safe space for me to open myself up to the possibility of like, oh, maybe I don't need to hide this thing for forever. That doesn't seem very practical.
But Glee was so massive, and we were talking about it before, Johnny and I, the producer. And is it true, Johnny, you went to Glee Live at O2?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And
Crazy.
but he was talking about, which I'd forgotten about, which was that phenomenon that, whatever songs you had on the show that week would then usually be the top 5 in the charts the same week, but your versions.
Yeah.
So, the big one, obviously, Don't Stop Believing, which, it wasn't a massive hit for that band the first time around. Then you guys came along and did it. And, I think whoever wrote that is now retired.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Steve Perry can rest easy now.
Yeah, exactly. But I think, how it was embraced by everybody, and it kind of, everybody wanted their school to be like that. It's like, I've obviously had long left school and, never really enjoyed it. But I think if my school had been like that, I might have enjoyed it a bit more. But I think, you ended up, the cast of Glee ended up going to the White House and singing for Obama.
Yeah.
I mean,
it was fully absurd. Everything felt like a dream.
Yeah.
Because all of those things also happened in such a short amount of time where we did like Oprah.
Look, no, wait, we've got something for you.
There's food?
Yeah, no. There's food. This is food. Now, what's your name, sir?
Igli.
Hey, nice. Thank you very much. Now, what we've got, now you
Very
said,
much.
here we go. Oh, I'll take that off you as well.
Thank
You're a
you,
very
Chef.
kind man. Will you thank Chef? Now,
Yeah.
you said, because everybody, before they come on this show, fills out a form.
Yes. Which was very scary.
Did you find that scary?
Yeah.
What,
You know,
'cause
in
you
the
thought
pressure of having
you're
to think...
setting yourself up.
Yeah.
Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
So, obviously, we are here in Corrigan's Mayfair,
Mm-hmm.
and you kind of made out you were kind of like some kind of omelette king, like you were quite good at an omelette.
The bar is low. I'm bad at everything. The omelet is the least bad thing that I could.
But we thought, why not have a Mayfair omelette? So this is one that is on the menu at the moment.
This is my first meal of the day, so this
Is
is
it
perfect.
good?
Oh,
good.
yeah.
So try that and tell me if you can recognize the ingredients because it's not just eggs.
Remember,
let's
I'm
be
from
clear.
Texas. You know,
Let's be clear. That ain't just eggs, and I think that's quite apparent. So
This is
give that omelette a
beautiful.
go.
Okay. I'm scared. This is beautiful.
Like that?
Yeah, you know what we don't do well
What?
is like a soft scramble or like a runny.
I have a
kind of,
whole I have a whole thing with what Americans call scrambled eggs.
burned eggs.
Just destroyed eggs.
I don't get it.
Well, you know,
Oh,
so the French have a term for that.
oh,
When
yes.
the center of your omelette is soft,
So good.
it is baveuse.
Bavos?
The center of your omelette should always be baveuse.
Yes. And my sister was in Paris this past weekend for the first time ever, and she got there a day before me, and she texted me and said, "My scrambled eggs look like porridge." And I was like, "And that's how they should be."
How they should be.
And she was
Scrambled
so
eggs.
turned off by it. I was like,
Oh,
you uncultured
no.
swine.
No.
You are in Paris. Eat the eggs how they make it.
And you have subsequently disowned her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Because scrambled eggs, low and slow, and not in a bloody frying pan.
No.
You do not cook eggs in a frying pan.
No.
Low and slow in a saucepan.
Oh, this is beautiful.
So
What is this on top?
So that is one of their signature dishes. But it's an omelette with spinach and bacon and then red wine jus.
And you know, I'm a bit of a purist when it comes to an omelet.
Yeah.
Like, I like just the egg.
Yeah.
This is delicious.
Very little in life
Wow.
is not enhanced by an egg.
Wow.
But it's a question of what you do with it.
Yeah.
And that plays to the whole reason
Wow.
for this podcast, which is I believe there is no such thing as a bad ingredient. However, I also have down here
Oh, no.
your guilty pleasure.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Let's get this out of the bag.
I'm trash,
Yeah.
and I like trash food.
Are you saying something about Plano, Texas there, which is obviously your hometown, or just generally you?
Well, generally.
Okay.
But also, in Texas, there is a fast food restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
There's a fast food place.
In inverted commas. It serves food of sort.
Called Golden Chick.
Golden Chick.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And you can drive through it.
Okay.
And they have fried chicken.
Yeah.
And it comes with country gravy, like white gravy.
Oh, yeah.
With a roll.
Alabama white
Cheese roll.
sauce.
Oh, yeah. Oh, is that what you call it?
I like a bit of Alabama white sauce.
It is.
Yeah.
Like, bathe me in. I
No, I like that.
love it. With these twice like double fried French fries. And
Here we do them 3 times.
thrice baked.
Mm-hmm. None of it twice. Always fine.
Amateur move.
Thanks to Heston Blumenthal.
But it's garbage, but it is delicious. I love it.
Now, you see, I like a chicken tender as much as the next. Yeah, just knock
Okay,
yourself
great,
out.
because this is beautiful.
I like a chicken tender as much as the next person, right?
Mm-hmm.
But
Mm-hmm.
I can't do the Colonel.
I can't either.
I just can't do the Colonel. We're talking about KFC, people.
I'm confused.
Okay.
I'm looking at you.
Confused of Texas wrote to us and said,
Why is KFC so big here?
I don't know.
I feel like it's bigger here than it is in America.
Yeah. Well, I have another business
This is
here,
delicious.
which is Home Slice Pizza.
Mm.
And we only serve pizza. No
Yeah.
pasta, no salad. Yeah. We don't even sell coffee.
Do your thing. and do it really, really well.
Exactly. Which, in a sense, is quite Japanese.
I was just going to say that.
You know.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we mentioned a show
This
earlier
is a dream.
called. Well, you carry
An
on.
omelet and fried chicken.
Omelette and
Don't
fried-
mind me.
There is more to come, though. Under the cloches lies
Okay.
the next stage of your Spooning with Mark Wogan
It's
experience.
a nice level of spice.
Nice level of spice. I may have a little more spice coming up for you because you expressed an interest in spice.
Yeah.
So I tell you what, I think we should probably move to your first spoon.
Okay, great. I mean, I say that. I'm just going to have this off.
But you will have to don the Spooning with Mark Wogan.
I may fall asleep.
We'll try and keep you awake. But
Put this on.
if you pop that on, I will get your first spoon ready for you. Now,
Mm.
it's an exercise in trust. I will be feeding you. You don't have to sort of palm around for the cutlery.
The last time I had... Never mind. I won't make a blindfold joking being fed. Okay.
You wouldn't be the first to make a blind.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Right.
Okay.
So it's time for your first spoon.
My clothes will stay on.
Here we go. I mean, they don't have to. It's not compulsory. But here's your first spoon.
Oh, God. Hold on. Where's the water?
The water's there.
Cleanse my palate.
Cleanse your palate. Ready yourself for this delight. Now,
Is it a delight?
it is a delight.
Or is it all the things I
All
hate?
of it. There's no such thing as a bad ingredient. Remember that. Open wide. Here we go.
Okay.
You ready? Come on. Compose yourself. Here we go. There we go. Now, tell me about the flavors, the textures. Is it enjoyable? Do we like it? Oh, he's pausing for thought here.
What is happening? Oh. Ooh.
Mm. Oh, we got a little cough.
Got a little spice in there.
Oh, yes. What have we got? Any idea? Any idea what the protein is? Any words at all would be helpful. Right now, it is a podcast.
Right. I'm really enjoying this. Sorry. Is it something? Is it like a? Is it? I don't know if it's pork
No,
or beef.
No.
Lamb.
No.
Right. I never said I was smart.
Why don't you take the blindfold off, and I will tell you all about what you're eating.
Oh, this is delicious, though.
And it's good. I mean, it's my own recipe. This.
Is it?
Yeah.
Can you imagine if I was just
I
like,
made
this is shit?
I made this for you last night. That is my fiery Goan chicken
No, it's
curry.
chicken.
Yeah.
I was gonna say it was curry.
Yeah.
But I was scared to be wrong.
But it's got a solid kick to it. It builds nicely, that one.
It does.
Yeah.
How do you do that? How do you control a spice level where it can build like that and it doesn't just hit you over the head?
It is literally down to the kind of spice you use. So if you went fresh chili, it's more immediate. If you go dried chili, it builds.
That's nice.
So, and also it's about how much or how little you cook out your spices before. If you don't, they're quite raw and quite immediate flavors and not very nice. But if you know how to cook out your spices properly, your curry will have a more rounded, layered kind of experience.
It's still going.
Yeah. It'll still.
But it was not too much.
You know, because you've got everything in there. You've got clove. You've got all sorts of things
what
that
it
will
was.
come. Yeah, they'll come through. Is it? You know, curry leaf, all that sort of stuff is in there.
Delicious.
Good.
That was
So,
great.
so we like that one.
Yeah, love.
Okay.
No, we don't. I don't like it. I love it.
it. Good. Now, I want to talk to you about. We mentioned earlier a show called The X Factor,
Yes.
and you know you'd been
Yeah.
off our screens for too long, and then you
Some
came,
might say not long enough.
well, and then you came bounding back
Yeah.
as The X Factor
Mm-hmm.
Celebrity Edition, and you know,
And then the show got canceled.
well, you know, I would say that, you know, one might argue you were one of the only genuine celebrities on that show, because when you arrived, did you go, who are this lot? With the exception maybe of Ricky Lake, you go, sorry, Vinny who? You know, Megan, what?
How I ended up on that show. It was 2 days before.
Oh, really?
I wasn't supposed to be on.
Oh, really?
I believe somebody pulled out.
Come on, who is it? You must.
I don't know. I
you
don't know.
Must know who.
And
it
a
was.
friend of mine who was a producer on the show, she produced the panel show I was on years before.
Mm-hmm.
She called me up and she was like, would you ever consider doing this? Growing up, I was a massive fan of X Factor.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, just a massive, massive fan. And so when it came over to the US, I was with Simon at some point backstage and I was like, I'm so happy it's here. And then I ended up doing like Pepsi commercials for it because I was anyway, big fan of X Factor. Being on it was never of interest to me. And so she asked and I was like, no.
Yeah.
I don't. And then she's like, well, we'd pay you. And I was like, well, okay, well, maybe
How much?
Maybe I could consider this.
Yeah.
And also, I love London. I love being here.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it was a nice reason to come over here, get to perform. I've known Nicole Scherzinger since I was 17, the NLT days.
Yes.
And
did you bill with the Pussycat Dolls then?
No, I mean, we opened up for them.
Yeah.
But no one knew who we
were.
They
were all at the bar going,
yeah.
Be off soon.
Which was also wild because the Pussycat Dolls were supposed to come back and do all that. And they debuted on the X Factor when I was on it. And so all the girls were there and I snuck around. They all came out of the lift and I was like, hi. And they're like, what the hell are you doing here? I'm like, it's me. So that's how I ended up on the show. It was not.
So was it that limited preparation that meant you came 7th? I'm sorry to bring it up. I mean, I know we were getting on well.
I will say the voting numbers show that the Americans did not get voted for.
No. See, that's the interesting thing.
Yeah.
And it's a weird thing about the UK. So even with sort of, you have the Graham Norton show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They have to put a solid domestic guest on that show every week.
Yeah.
Otherwise, people don't tune in.
Yeah.
I mean, they do, obviously, but not to the same degree. It's like you could have, Jamie Foxx, Robert De Niro, blah, blah, everything. Yeah. But if you didn't have comedian Kevin Bishop on the end, nobody's going to tune in.
It's amazing.
But we're quite weird like that as a country.
No, I respect that, though. You care about your people. You know.
Or we're just a bit insular and islander-like.
Well, I also think there's something to be said about not being too swayed by the celebrity of it all.
So, but, because of being scarred by, not being voted for, quite frankly, for being American.
Yeah.
Your next sort of singing, performing challenge type show you did was RuPaul's Drag Race. But you did the American version.
Yes.
Now, look, I don't mean to split hairs here, but you came 4th in that.
I did. Some say I should have won.
Who? You?
No, Michelle did. Okay? One of the co-hosts.
Okay, you should have won.
I also am not. I never wanted to do sort of reality shows like this. It is not for me. I learned that during the X Factor. I was like, I am not about.
I mean, hold on. And then 3 years later, you came back for more.
However, because I loved the X Factor growing up, I was like, this is an insane opportunity. And I love performing, so maybe we'll do that. And then the Drag Race thing happened. And I actually took too long to answer that they moved on to somebody else. And again, 2 days before, they were like, somebody pulled out. I'm like, yeah, I was being stupid before. Yeah. Because what an opportunity.
I mean, a bit of fun.
Yeah, and I couldn't do my own makeup or my own wigs or
Can
costumes.
you now?
No.
Oh.
No.
You learned nothing then.
No, absolutely not. But the joy of being able to perform like that was just a once in a lifetime opportunity. So career-wise, is it the smartest thing to be doing? I don't know. But if I'm offered the opportunity to do something that would be so much fun to do, it's really hard to say no.
If the Masked Singer came knocking?
Again, that was one in my head. I was like, I would never do that. And then my friend Amber Riley won it. And she was like, honestly, it was really fun. And I was like,
I think people, when they do it, they have a lot of fun.
They do.
So, I mean, if they came knocking, you'd be like, yeah, I'm in.
And every season, people are tweeting me anyway, being like, oh, you're on the show. I'm like, no. So at some point,
How
maybe I
often
should
do you get
just do it.
thrown up as one of the, I mean, quite frankly, preposterous guesses they make?
Oh yeah, I think it
I
happens.
think it might be Robert De Niro in there. No, it's
No,
really not. And
no,
and
no.
can I be frank? It's never going.
It's never. You couldn't afford. The budget does not exist. It happens almost every single season that it happens. Nicole has guessed me. I'm like, Nicole, you know that's not me. you know this froggy muppety voice.
But she's got,
No, she's
Now,
doing it.
talking of frogs.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you see that?
Yeah, I like.
Yeah.
I picked that up there because I do want to talk about this because you are about to appear on London's West End stage in The Frogs. Tell us about The Frogs.
The Frogs.
Yeah.
As I've been, 2 people have gotten this. The Frogs, which is based off an Aristophanes play.
Mm-hmm.
Jane Lynch being the first one. I told her I was doing The Frogs, and she's like, Aristophanes? I was like, yeah, nobody ever gets that reference. She's like, well, because I'm brilliant, and most people aren't.
Yeah, there is that.
Fair, Jane. Loosely based off the Aristophanes play. Sondheim wrote a musical in the 70s. Did it at Yale in a swimming pool. Is how the show came to be.
He had some periods.
Meryl Streep was in the ensemble,
Well.
And then Nathan Lane did a new version of it, basically, in the early 2000s, post 9/11, because the play itself is a bit of a satire and social commentary, and it's a silly, good old time, and with Sondheim music, and it's a
I think we call it a romp here.
It is a romp, a complete full romp,
Yeah.
and it's one of the Sondheim shows that doesn't get done as much, and I feel like, I hate to say this phrase, but like, with the state of the world currently, we could use it. And it doesn't hit you over the head with politics. It's not like that, but it has like a really strong, beautiful message in it.
So I am going to ask you to put your blindfold on.
Oh, nice transition.
You see that?
That was good.
It's not my first rodeo. So the blindfold is on again, and it is time for your second spoon.
Uh-oh. Okay.
Here we go.
Oh.
Open wide, ready for more deliciousness.
I guess.
Here we go. Give me flavors, give me textures. What have we got there? Is it delicious? Are we enjoying it? I think you'll discover I have played to your love of spice here.
Oh, there it is.
Yeah?
That was, you just conjured that up.
Mm.
This texture is interesting.
What do you think it is?
I don't know.
You don't know?
Mm,
Is it nice? Are you enjoying it?
the flavor, yes.
Yeah.
The texture, I don't know.
Well, it was deep fried. What's not improved by deep frying?
Some things can't be improved by deep frying.
Well, like a flip-flop. Do you know what? I'm going to give that a go this weekend.
I did really. Do you have another one?
Yeah.
I feel like I need more.
Okay, good. He's going in for the second spoon. Here we go. Open wide. There we go.
That one felt saucier.
Well, I think it did have a little bit more sauce on it and might have been slightly smaller than the other one.
I have no idea what this is.
Okay, take the blindfold off. Are you prepared? That was aubergine.
I had a feeling.
Oh, did you? Oh, now you have a feeling.
I didn't. The texture.
So let me just tell you the lengths I went to disguise that aubergine from you, but proving that aubergine can be nice. So first of all, slice the aubergine.
Yeah.
Salt it. It's a kind of adaptation on a classic Andalusian recipe.
Right.
Which is fried aubergine with honey. But I did it with a chipotle pineapple mayonnaise instead. So you've got that sweetness with the heat. And so you slice it, you salt it, you leave the salt on for an hour or so, squeeze out all the moisture.
Wow.
You then put it in milk in the fridge overnight. So you've removed, because you were getting the texture, but I bet there was
only a hint of it. It wasn't like.
But I bet there was none of the bitterness.
None.
Yeah. Because if you soak it in milk overnight. It
Yeah.
just gets rid of that, which is the main thing people hate about aubergine, other than the texture, is that bitter back note.
Yeah.
And that's just because it hasn't been, as we see in the trade, degorged properly.
Right. That is tied for the best aubergine I've ever had.
There we go. Success.
It was an aubergine curry I had once. That was delicious. And I'm open to trying it. I always try it and I never like it.
No. Well,
I didn't hate that.
I'll take that.
No, that's good.
It's
That's
official.
No,
Kevin
that was
McHale didn't.
I didn't hate it because I normally do.
Well,
I'd have that again.
well, then we've achieved what we set out to do.
Yeah, I was scared.
And I am happy. You've made me happy. I hope I've made your palate happy.
Oh yeah.
And thank you for being such a great sport.
Are you anytime? I can.
You can take that with you. You can finish your omelette. You can do whatever you like. But that is it for spooning this week. You carry on eating. I'll just close.
Do we
I'll
get to
close the
spoon
show.
now?
Yeah. No. Yes. You and I can go over there and spoon.
Okay, great.
No.
I was promised spooning.
Yeah. No. You'll get that. Don't you worry. Now, big thank you to Kevin for taking part. That is, of course, all for spooning this week. You can see Kevin in the Frogs from, now let me get the dates right here, 23rd of May to the 28th of June.
Yeah.
You're barely working a month.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know, I don't like to commit too much.
I mean, what is it, 8 shows a week? Okay, right, fine. And that is at the Southwark Playhouse.
Yes.
And if you go to southwarkplayhouse.co.uk, you can find tickets there.
Yes.
But it's probably sold out.
No. Look for tickets.
Okay, good.
I mean, it is selling very well, but I'm sure there's some seats.
Well, I will be coming to see it, and you will.
Are you?
Yeah, of course I'm going to come and see it. If you like what we're doing here, you can find us across all your social media platforms, TikTok, Instagram, the whole lot. Just search Spooning with Mark Wogan, and you can see us in glorious Technicolor on the Virgin Radio YouTube channel. So come and have a look at what we're doing. But until next week, when I will be joined by another very special guest, I'd like to say a massive thank you to the team here at Corrigan's for, quite frankly, a delicious omelette.
It's a perfect omelet.
It's a perfect omelette.
Yeah.
And until next week, stay beautiful.